Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Tuesday here on Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show. My name is Sihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty, your favorite fat boy. Welcome to it. This is the show that helps you wake up with the solid news analysis. Guys, remember, your only price of admission here on Vuka Nazo is to hit that like button. Yeah, boy, do it right now. Hit that like button and, of course, share the stream, whether you're watching the simulcast on Facebook or on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube in particular, guys, help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. How do you do that? Well, subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Big Daddy Liberty family. Remember, we have a website here at Vuka Nazo and the BDL show. Find us at bigdaddyliberty.com, especially those of you who are looking to financially contribute to the show. Anything between 50 to 100 Rand a month, 75 Rand a month is about the average that we do from people per month, per person. Now, enough of that jibber jabber. How about we get straight into the news? All right, we begin here this morning with feedback as the Eskom and Andre de Ruyter story continues to absolutely blow up, and indeed hopefully blow up in the faces of certain characters, given the statements made by Andre de Ruyter, the outgoing Eskom CEO, about the effective involvement of the ANC and really senior ANC politicians, i.e. ministers, that de Ruyter sort of fingers as being involved in the corruption that has collapsed Eskom. Now, the story, as I said, takes another turn as the ANC itself hits back and responds to these allegations. Left fuming, of course, was the ANC, with the General Secretary of the ANC accusing Andre de Ruyter of all sorts of shenanigans and nonsense. Oh, he was useless, he says. Oh, he is a right-winger, Mbalula calls de Ruyter. Now, here's my thing. If being a right-winger means that you tell the truth and you expose, rather, the wrongdoers in society, then sign me up to being a right-winger. What an asinine and dumb thing for Ufigile Mbalula to say. But again, Ufigile Mbalula is an asinine and dumb individual nonetheless. So he's perfectly suited for his role in the ANC. Nonetheless, that idiot and indeed the entire organization coming out and basically guns blazing, now suggesting that, well, Andre de Ruyter needs to go to the police and put forward these allegations. Now, here's the thing. They're right in that sense. I don't have a problem with that call. It's a call that was made by not only the ANC, but a lot of other opposition parties too. Indeed, the union SAFTU, led by Uzwelinzima Vavi, also indicating that it too is calling on de Ruyter to come forward and put these allegations on paper. That's the union SAFTU, going as far as even opening a case against Andre de Ruyter. The ANC, of course, learning from ISAFTU and now saying they're giving Andre de Ruyter 7 days. If I can steal from that song by Usting, 7 days is all she wrote. Excuse me, I digressed there for a moment. But ANC giving de Ruyter 7 days and to come forward and open a criminal case. If not, they say they're effectively going to sue them. Let me read from this News 24 piece as the spokesperson for the ANC, Awan Mahlengi Bengi Motsiri, basically coming out and saying the following. Now, the spokesperson said on Sunday that the party reiterated its call for de Ruyter to lay criminal charges supported by verifiable evidence about the corruption he alleged took place at the power utility. She said an active criminal case would allow law enforcement agencies to act by probing and possibly prosecuting any ANC member or public representative who may have been involved in corrupt activity. Now, she's quoted directly as having said, "We draw attention to the provisions of Section 34 of the Prevention and Combating Corrupt Activities Act of 2004, which makes it illegal for any person in authority not to report an act of information or corruption and criminality," end of quote. Now, it's that last line. It's that last line that exposes the hypocrisy of the ANC. Now, remember I said there are other opposition parties and parties generally, including unions, that have made this similar call that, that Ruyter ought to make an affidavit or maybe even be deposed on camera, and that evidence put forward in order to charge these individuals implicated in corruption. But when the ANC makes this call, it's dishonest, it's disingenuous. And why? That last line, as I said, about the issue of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, basically compelling us to report issues of crime. Well, here's the kicker. Andre de Ruyter, in that interview that he did with Annika Larsen on ENCA, which went viral, you remember, of course, Andre de Ruyter had already said that he had told the top brass of the ANC, a certain minister, who he actually alleges he had told about these corrupt activities. That minister has outed himself as being, of course, Minister Pravin Gordhan, the Minister of Public Enterprises. So here's the question. Why hasn't the ANC minister himself gone to the police station to report these activities? Why are they gunning after Andre de Ruyter? Rightly so, insofar as, yes, de Ruyter should come out and put forward hard evidence. But why gun so aggressively for de Ruyter and say nothing about Gordhan? The same Gordhan, by the way, who's been also critical of Andre de Ruyter, that mumish of last week. You remember we made him mumish of the week. Let me quickly read this piece in The Citizen, which basically has that same minister that Andre de Ruyter fingered as having been told about the corruption, now quietly conceding that yes, actually, Andre de Ruyter had told him about these allegations. Now, Gordhan reportedly did not deny that he was the minister who was informed by de Ruyter, but condemned the alleged corruption at Eskom. The public enterprises earlier in the week had criticized de Ruyter for publicly speaking about the widespread graft, saying that, quote, CEOs of entities such as Eskom should not be involved in open political debates or assertion, end of quotes. He also suggested that he was blindsided by the former Eskom boss, end of quotes. So there you have it. There you have it. Gordhan lied initially, then comes forward and tells the truth. And here's the problem. He's stuck in a bit of a catch-22 because his very party is now saying, no, they're going to sue de Ruyter for him to tell the truth and report corrupt individuals. But here's the thing. The ANC technically already knew who these individuals were. So there's two questions I'm leaving you with here. Number one, and de Ruyter already points towards them. Why is it that law enforcement who have been informed about some of these dodgy characters, you remember de Ruyter speaking about these cartels, the four big syndicates that effectively are stealing as much as R1 billion a month. So why gun after de Ruyter more than these criminal syndicates who are stealing allegedly R1 billion a month from Eskom? Now, that's something we need hard answers to, and which the ANC needs to speak up about. But with this being said, I'm not surprised Andre de Ruyter, given the mess of this all, has chosen to leave the country, flee the country for his own safety and that of his family. Okay, now I take you to Eskom in Limpopo, where this grim story really highlights the divide, the real divide in South African society, which is really between the criminal elites and us, the law-abiding faith, flag, family, and freedom type South Africans. A question I now have in mind is it worth it being a good Samaritan in South Africa? Is it worth it to try and assist those who have been affected by crime? This story will suggest it isn't, of course, where, as I mentioned in Seshego, a manhunt has been launched by the police in that area, looking for 6 unknown males, of course, who are alleged to have robbed 2 women and raped one of those particular women on Friday last week. A harrowing story in this. Those 2 women, of course, were then approached by a vehicle that had 5 individuals who were trying to effectively help. And let me read from the police statement on this particular issue to just get a sense of just how harrowing the story is. Now, as I mentioned, the rape victim managed to free herself and ran to the road calling for help. A vehicle with 5 occupants reportedly stopped next to her, and she was busy explaining what had happened when the same 6 suspects, of course, accosted them. They brutally hacked one of the men in the vehicle with a sharp object, and he died at the scene. Another occupant was stabbed and seriously injured, end of quote. Now, as per that same statement, the injured man was taken to a local hospital. Of course, the other man succumbing to his brutal injuries, murdered just like that, trying to help these two rape victims. This is the country, unfortunately, we live in, where those who have a good heart, those who try to do the good thing, those who try to help, those who try to fight back against the rampant criminality are murdered brutally in this way. And a police force in this country that simply is, I hate to say it, unable to deal with this. The police in this country are not a deterrent to violent criminals. You can only do this as a violent criminal if you know that the chances of you being caught are very slim to none. In fact, let me quote a good friend of mine, Gordhan of Paratus.info, who had mentioned in the previous episode of Liberty and Friends that the police only have about a 3% success rate in finding firstly and convicting hardened murderers in this country. So that's the environment in which these alleged 6 murderers are operating in, an environment where there is impunity. They can act as they will because they know there are very slim chances of them being caught. Something has to give, dear South African, if we're going to live in a society where those of us, the God-fearing, law-abiding and family-oriented people, are to endure in this country. Otherwise, if nothing changes, if we continue believing a certain useless asshat of a police minister is going to fix the crime, or the largely cadre-deployed, ANC-deployed management structure, individuals who are hapless and useless at their jobs, who currently, unfortunately, manage our police force, manage our men and women in blue, especially those men and women in blue who are brave, who love what they do, who don that blue uniform, put on their service pistol and their bulletproof vest and go out there and face the wolves, face the evil on our behalf. If those men and women in blue are to be protected so that they can do their job, then we've got to wholesale get rid of the entire management structure of the police, get rid of that useless police minister and start from scratch. Only promote the best of the best within the police force, professional police officials, not politically aligned cadres as we've currently seen at the moment. Only the best of the best, and fundamentally restructure the South African police service to be a more federal service that responds to community needs, and a more well-resourced, visible policing force that actually not only catches criminals, prevents crime, catches criminals when they do commit a crime, puts together solid investigative cases with world-class detectives, and of course passes on solid dockets to the NPA, the prosecuting authority. That is the only way we can fix our crime scourge. Rest in peace to these good Samaritans. And it begs the question, does this change your view about being a good Samaritan? All right, that's it for this episode of Vuka Nazo. Thank you so much to all of you who have really subscribed to the channel. I broke that 40,000 mark. There's 40,000 of you now. Yay! Who are subscribers. Guys, thank you so much for that. Remember, your only price of admission here is really to hit that like button, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. And if it is YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Find us on our website at bigdaddyliberty.com to stay abreast on all the things that we're doing in studio and outside. And of course, I will see you tomorrow bright and early for another episode of Vuka Nazo.